What's going on, everybody? Geronimo22 coming back with a video. Going to be right back here looking at some Demeco Ryans wide 9. Going to try to piece it together. Looking forward to Madden 25 and what we know about the game. If you guys didn't check out my beta review, it's up there. It's labeled as Maximum Football, but it's not. All right, so that's all I'll say. Just take a look at it. That's what I'm talking about, Madden. All right, so this breakdown is kind of like an end of the year breakdown, trying to get ready for the next game. NCAA would be the next video I do. I don't really have, obviously, NCAA, but I don't know how the game even really plays. But we're going to take a look at some college scheme, probably watch some college tape, talk about the 4-2-5 defense, and then maybe see how it's going to play out this year into NCAA, okay? We have, some good thoughts there. That's going to roll right into probably Madden, because, again, the two different styles of wide 9 defense will be the Demeco Ryan / Robert Saleh / 49ers. That whole system is the same. Nick Sorensen is going back to what, the guys did in the past. So it's going to be a lot of what you see here. And then also there is the Jim Schwartz, who I put into a different category. He's more aggressive style, a little more cover 1, a little more cover 3. But it doesn't really matter what personality you want to use when it comes to your coverage scheme. It's just trying to build it in Madden. So we're going to build it from the wide 9. We're going to have to throw in other fronts and all those things because everything is not wide 9. Sometimes you are in regular over, you are in big nickel packages, and things like that, okay? So anyway, I just want to take a look at some tape. I think it'd be always good to watch some real life film, see what's going on. This is a game versus the Bengals from last year, I think middle of the season. And I'm going to take a look at some of these plays and just take a look at really what the defense is trying to get done here. This one was interesting. They're going to rotate the safety down here strong. Okay, so really when that happens in football, when I say strong, it's because of what? It's because that's where the, let me get the right color here. That's where the passing strength is, okay? So right now you have 2 receivers up here, okay? You have 2 wide receivers, right? Actually, I'm sorry, you also have a tight end over here too. So this is what we would call 1-by-4 set or 4-by-1 formation, where you have 4 eligible receivers on one side of the quarterback, okay? But really what you're going to end up having here is just the safety comes rolling down. I don't know exactly why. It could be because he has man and a tight end, right? That would make sense. Or it could be 3 buzz strong, which they don't really play a lot. So when you start looking at film, you start kind of like realizing, okay, if they're not really a 3 buzz team, this is probably cover 1. And it's hard to tell versus boot sometimes, okay? So what happens here, we get a little boot play. We're going to run a smash concept. There goes the cheetah motion. Okay, so you're just going to see, number 1, he's just going to sit down at the top, and then we're going to get a corner. The tight end blocks, so I'm assuming that this is why he kind of frees up. Okay, and then you can also see kind of the run fits when we get to the end zone. It looks like, the backers are fitting off of their run fits based off the call, okay? So one of these guys will end up taking him, all right? Usually in a boot play, one of these backers, if they do recognize it, obviously I think the outside guy would take the running back, and this guy can come after the quarterback. That'd be fine. Another thing you see that's interesting on this play is watch. Let me just let the play run a little bit. Watch the bottom of the screen. You're going to get, I think Jamar Chase is the wide receiver running this over route at the bottom of the screen. And you can see the safety back here. He's playing pretty much directly over the top of Chase. So if this is cover 1, I mean, this is what I would originally call, sometimes we used to use different words. I don't want to use the word cheat because a lot of people use that for different things now. But this safety is basically playing like almost a half-field technique, or really mirroring whatever's happening here, which allows the corner to be more aggressive on Jamar Chase. So it's almost like a double team. So it's almost like the top of the screen is playing what? Like cover 0, These guys have no help whatsoever, okay? So that's just that. All right, so cover 1 most likely, right? And that's the beginning of the game. So we're going to kind of keep track of that. There's going to be disguises next year. It's going to be a lot easier to work some of these disguises. And this formation, again, this is the same play. They kind of start this defense looking like quarters. I think that's going to be pretty much the generic way, or even cover six, right? You can make this be like a cover six look shell, but you're calling cover one, right? This would be cover one hole. And then the safety maybe walks down late and gets to where he has to go. So just remember that. Maybe Demeco's style will be more of that cover six shell and then get into different things. Maybe to be quarters and get into different things. I think that's going to probably be my base way of going is calling a lot of quarter shell and then getting down to whatever defense I want. All right, let's go with this right here. This is a 3x1 bunch. They motion and they run an inside zone play. Now, this play definitely gets the edge player down here does a nice job, right? This is what happens. You have this wide nine. This tight end who's supposed to probably block the edge defender basically misses his block. Now, the edge defender also goes around him a little bit, all right? But he makes this tackle. If he doesn't make this tackle, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Look at the show here. This looks like what? This presentation right here to start. Can't really tell. The only reason why I would say maybe a cover two or cover six would be my answer. Again, because down at the bottom, we have the press corner. You know what I mean? This guy right here being pressed, you're probably going to get some sort of, I think in Madden, right? You're going to get like this guy playing 5 yards off. You can play around with that and get that pressed up. But we do have a bunch up here in this corner, even in Madden. It doesn't matter what coverage you call. It's kind of like in no man's land. This guy's really deep too, probably too deep to play quarters. So maybe this is like a cover two shell. You know what I mean? So just maybe we'll think of it like that. So I was going to say cover six, but maybe it's more of a cover two shell. Now, what coverage do they get to? It looks like they get to quarters. You see how the safety kind of walks back into his position at the top? All right. And then also look at the run fits of the linebackers. We're looking from the end zone, right? Against the zone play, they're fitting weak side fits and they're leaving the front side B gap open. So right here, from this angle, when they fit off the run, it looks like this linebacker comes in here and fits into the A. This one ends up kind of like looking like with this motion, he was going to become the new D gap player, okay? And then this is the gap that's open, all right? So you're going to see the nickel is going to kind of fall in and not really worry about the bubble so much. That's the conflict player, okay? And if you guys remember Madden coming up next year, you're going to have the nickel doing kind of like what you see here. He's going to do a nice job of not of playing the bubble and also falling back in on the run. Okay, so bubble first. If you watch the nickel at the top, he's not going to go falling in too quick. He's patient, and then he'll come back inside. Okay, so you kind of see how look how this linebacker fits. The B gap would have been the problem gap. Also, 51 did a good job of basically, coming back inside to help. Safety wise, you can kind of see how this safety kind of fits. He's looking at the bubble. Okay. He actually did get a lot of width. So I don't know necessarily. This could be cover two, guys, to be honest with you. But that's the good thing. You can't really tell in run plays all the time what it is. That could have actually just been cover two. All right. All right. So we'll watch this series and we get a feel for what's going on. This is going to be a trips kind of a bunch formation. Pretty sure this might be third down. Actually, it's second and long. Okay. So just remember a football, guys. Anytime you usually get a tight end that's off the ball like this, usually, right? I mean, look at this. I don't even know if this is I don't know who this guy is, but he's in pass protection mode, right? So right now, it's almost like he might as well just be in the backfield. So this is like a 2x1 formation with a compressed split. Anytime you get a compressed or you get two guys close, especially when it's 1 and 2, you got to think about the idea of them doing what? Twitching down the field, okay? So a lot of times when this happens, you're going to get the classic flood combination or scissors combination, okay? And then this guy would just check, right? He'd probably tip and they come out to the flat lane. So that would be a flood kind of combination. And most likely he's going to run a dig. I didn't even look at this play. Let's just see what happens here. But that's pretty much what you should look for, all right? From a defensive standpoint. Deeper routes, deep route combinations. And that's pretty much what we get. We do get a little bit of the nice little job of this route here. It looks like a little kind of corner and go, which I've never really seen that before. But from a coverage standpoint, look at that shell. What do we got here? That looks like a cover 6 shell. Okay, corners in their team and press on the weak side like all the time. And I guess they have the people to do it. But versus this bunch formation, we pretty much should have a box call here. Remember, box is going to be a lot better this year in Madden with these four guys. We can kind of trust it. The one thing is that we're going to get lock calls down the field. So once we get this post route combination and this corner is going to stay on one, the safety is going to stay on two. Okay, once they get about 10 yards down the field. So that's similar to the current Madden 24, but I think the new one's going to do that. But it looks like cover six shell. Let's see if they actually stay in cover six. Yeah, definitely with the way the safety opens up on the backside. You can watch this safety back here. Watch how he gets open, pedals, right? A lot of landmarks for safeties in general are 2 yards or 3 yards inside the numbers, okay? And you want to get depth, right? So when the ball snapped, a lot of times those first, while the quarterback is in his drop, you're trying to get back to 22 yards. So you probably need to start at 15, right? You're trying to get 7-yard back pedal in there. By the time the quarterback gets to the back of his, when he's about to throw, you should be at 22 yards. All right. So now you can break in any direction you need to over the top of things. Let's take a look at the safety in the corner at the bottom. I'm pretty sure they're just going to lock onto their guys. Whoa, that's corner did a horrible job. Didn't realize how poor this is. Part of the problem is his footwork here, guys. So I've talked about this before. Like if you're playing man to man and you have a post safety in the middle of the field, you can use what I call this shade footwork where he's going to shuffle out. So this receiver here, right here at the bottom looks like he stems him a little bit. He gives him that outside release, works to the top of the numbers, and then he hit that post. And this corner kind of got width, but he should have also got some depth. He should be on that second line getting some depth if you're playing the shade technique where you have this guy man to man and you have a post safety in the middle. Because you have direct post safety help, you could play harder outside, knowing that if he does run the post, you have another player there. But in this case, it's almost like playing cover zero where you have no help. So your technique can't be the same when you're playing quarters out here as you would if you were playing man to man. You're going to have to get more depth. You're going to have to let him work his shade. If he wants to work a stem outside, let him. Let him work to your outside shoulder. It's all good. Just make sure you keep your depth here, all right? I'm not saying it's more like a true zone, but it's close. But watch this corner. He kind of doesn't get enough depth. Lets this guy get up on him. It's like he's sitting on an outside route like he has help in the middle of the field. Okay, he doesn't, all right? So he got lucky. Not sure why the quarterback honestly could have took a shot here. The one thing that might have saved him is the safety is actually his footwork. I think he pedals and kind of holds this window a little bit right here. He's not sure. He, as in the quarterback, is not sure if the safety is going to, for whatever reason, just stay in his zone. And it looks like that could have been part of what happened here. If we were to switch, like if we were playing a defense where we said, hey, if we get 2 deep routes, the safety in the corner are going to switch down the field, I'm okay with this kind of footwork by the corner because he's going to end up probably falling right back on this corner route, right? And this guy can stay deep. But as you can see, this post route's not even it's a real rail post. It's a real skinny post. It's pretty much like a vertical. So they got lucky. I'm not sure if this is a true double move that he's supposed to come up. Quarterback must have had some pressure. His clock just said, I don't know what's going on. So he just threw the check down. All right. But again, coverage wise, we're definitely getting cover 6 here. You can see with the corner at the top of the screen, right? He presses number 1, plays it flat. Everybody's good money. See the pass rush up front. The one thing about this wide 9 is you do get you want to stunt your D line. I wish they would put that in Madden. We might have to try to find ways to make that happen, but the pressure was okay there, average. And then the nickel here, I think he's the one that makes this play. All right, so technically he's first to the flat, so that's his guy. But he has time. Like he doesn't have to be outside leverage of the flat defender. That's the one thing a lot of people think in quarters coverage, that the quarter flat defender has to be outside leverage. That's not always the case. Just presentation wise, I think they pretty much showed. This is pretty much showing cover 6 here, guys. And I do, sometimes when you show coverage, you have to actually line up in the coverage that you're going to play to actually make the offense believe that you're going to play that. If you're a team if you go into Madden next year and you always get into a new coverage, so like let's say you play cover 6, but you show cover 3 or you show cover 0, people are going to catch on if they're good and be like, oh, well, we know what he's showing is not really happening, okay? So All right, so this is really interesting here. This is part of the double mug series. This can get real crazy and real, like we can build this out to a million different things. But the main thing we're going to look at is we got two linebackers mugged up and we have the safety. Okay, this is the weak safety up in the line of scrimmage. So this would be an example of double mug, any type of weak safety pressure, okay, or walked up pressure, and then you can drop them if you want. All right, so we start there. Now, the Bengals do a nice job of actually also motioning the back out to find out if it's man or zone or if it's really true man to man, like zero. Because if this was cover zero, right, somebody would have had to walk out with them, right? One of these backers that might have been playing around, right, who had the back, or one of these defensive ends who was going to be what we call a peel. Somebody they would have had to make an adjustment because there was no adjustment. They figured that now they're going to get droppers. They're going to get guys dropping out of there. It's some sort of probably zone pressure, hot pressure, some sort of hybrid of a defense. Now, the offense, I won't spend too much time on. They do a good job of picking this up. Okay, this is a five-man pressure. But let's look at it from who's actually coming. So we get the safety coming, right, off the weak side. And then we also have the backer. One of those backers came as well. So those are your two players. They take the D in and they drop them out. It's kind of like a hot area. And then we have this player kind of looking for getting like almost in a hot area or underneath number two. Now, don't talk about, I have no idea what's going on necessarily with the coverage. If this is a hot blitz and we have like eyes, technically you would be bringing six if you were doing a hot blitz. So it's probably not that. So it's probably some sort of like 3D pressure. But this safety right here kind of looks like he almost has man to man on number two. So that's the part that's a little different. Now, there are some teams out there that would play like an inverted here, where these corners are playing back in halves, and he's almost like playing like a robber, and he's looking to basically just again eyes on the quarterback wherever he's looking. So it could be like a four under, two deep. I'm not sure. So this is where I'm saying that it could be a lot of different things here. It's almost impossible for me to say what it is unless I watch them do this over and over throughout the season, and I get different formations. I can kind of like piece it together. But the Bengals do a nice job of just running this kind of little flood route combination, um, just a little scissors deal, right? The out route, the corner, and it's picked up. So he had time to throw it, right? So this is really a tough play. I have no idea what the safety is doing over there, though. So that's part of the problem. But we can jump into Madden and play around with this package and the double mug package on, I think this is third down. Let me see if I can see the sticks. Yeah, it's third and about 7. So we have to have a nice little package for third and 7. And this is where we can start doing research with what's going on in Minnesota, what's going on with the college Pittsburgh team, the team, Pat, Nadursky, whatever he's doing. Please help me with the name correction, how to pronounce that. And, kind of figure it out. But this is part of their deal. I've seen them called to invert in the past. So that's kind of like in my thought process too, that's part of what they do. All right. So, all right. But they get a first down here. We keep it moving. This isn't always a tough formation. So this is empty, right? And they're going to run what I would call like in Madden, it's Haas. Okay. So you're going to have hitch seams on the outside, right? I don't know why my thing is so thin. Hold on. Excuse me. Let me change this up if I can real quick. All right, let's do this. Okay, so we get hitch, right? Seam. Sometimes these guys would be benders, depending on coverage. If it's like quarters coverage, which I think, or cover two, that's kind of what we get there. All right, and then we get the good old jerk route. All right, so here stop, take a picture is what we used to teach you. Look at the quarterback, take a picture, and then move right or left, depending away from leverage. A lot of times we would always tell them to keep going one way. That's how I taught it, especially with Schottenheimer back in the day. But anyway, some people teach it different. And on offense, if we called cover 6 to this formation, a lot of times instead of playing cover 6, so I can't tell you where the passing strength is. Wherever the two receivers are is the passing strength. So don't get confused to say, hey, well, there's 3 players up here, so the passing strength is here. Technically, this could be a tight end, and this could be a halfback and a receiver. Okay, and if that's the case, that's not the passing strength, and I think that's what we get here. Okay, because now it looks like we have a slot receiver, and another receiver down here. I think this is the nickel. So instead of playing cover 6 to this, which isn't the worst thing in the world, you could just say play quarters, and we would just check in the regular quarters, okay? He could play inside, all right? But the guy who has to play here to the 3 receiver side has the hardest job, right? He has to be a wall player. So it looks like he froze a little bit. He got past them, and there's a good chance with this route that these guys will be gone. He'll be running over here on the hitch, and there's going to be a lot of space over there, okay? But in general, most defensives they have a check versus empty to do something. We could play 2-man at the top, we could play cover 2, or we can just play quarters, okay? Regardless, though, this player in the middle, he got jerked. And that's what happens to a lot of good players. We get to have, he thinks it's going to be a sit down. He breaks across his face. And the first guy that was there was the safety on the backside, who's definitely playing quarters, okay? So that's that. So that's some sort of quarters family defense. Okay, so once you in this defense, guys, you guys know it, man. If you play enough in this defense to wide 9, at some point you're going to have to start blitzing your linebackers. That's part of the deal. One linebacker blitz is a big play for the wide 9 family. It's in Madden. It's one of the better blitzes. There's certain ways that you can work this to get guys to come in if you just play around with it. I've seen guys work it better than I have, to be honest with you. But I know it's one of my favorite plays. Usually I can hit plays in the backfield for a loss, but that was just a pass. So cover 1 blitz, linebacker blitz. And this is a 3rd down play, or at least it's a short yardage play. Yeah, it's 3rd and 1. So all this is here, guys, they came out and 3-by-1 bunch, or sorry, 2 is, it is bunch. Okay. So they came out 3-by-1 bunch. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, back offset on this side. So they're putting everybody over there. We're playing cover 1 on defense, okay? So I'm not sure where the nickel is. I think this is our nickel. He might have switched off, all right? And our safety's down the box because he has man the tight end. So these 3 and these 3, you want to be on different levels. This backer is going to have to be over here. We might have a combo call going up on the 2nd level. Not sure. Doesn't matter. But one thing I like about what they did here is when an offense starts motion in like this, like they compress their space. One thing we can do on defense to counter that is to also, when they compress, we compress. But how we're going to compress is not necessarily that we're going to squeeze all our bodies going in this direction horizontally. We're going to do it from a vertical look. So if I was a safety, right, and I had the tight end and I was like trying to show in the beginning of the play, like cover 4, anytime I get like a tight motion in like this, get your butt down there and compress vertically. Because most likely they're doing it so they can do what? They're going to try to like pinch and pull and do all types of stuff like that, crack and pull. So that's what you want to do. You want to get yourself closer to the line of scrimmage, all right? So you can potentially take on that block right now. It's not such a high impact block, and you can make the ball bounce, okay? So let's look at this play right here. This is a run play. You already saw a little bit of it. That safety got down even closer. I mean, with this motion in, and he could have inserted right as a runner, as a blocker. So the safety got his butt down there closer. Let the safety do the dirty work. Nickel, you can stay over the top. All right. They do a poor job with the blocking on this. I think the receiver blocks nobody, the one that actually went all the way down to the B gap. But again, just being vertically, trying to get down there and make things happen right now. That's what 5 does. That's what 41 does. It causes chaos and it lets those linebackers go free. Now, this center is trying to get to number 6, but, again, we are more athletic than the center. Even though this 3 technique, it looks like he actually went. He got reached, but some people don't care if you get reached on defense as long as you get vertical penetration, all right, and make that ball bounce. And that ball was going outside anyway, but just wanted to show you the good hustle here. Number 6 finishes his playoff right now, but that's the way you play defense, guys. That's a good job. That was 3rd down and 1. Then they go for it on 4th down. So they check into this bunch-like look empty with the chipper up there. Again, these chippers are there to chip, and they try to run a screen. It looks like we got shell-wise, cover 6 again, right? Or some sort of cover 2. Could be cover 2. So that's something that it looks like right now. I'm going to put into my notes. Mixing in cover 2 and cover 6 shell is the way to go because those are the two calls I'm seeing a lot, and we can play either coverage, right? So that would be a personality play or personality of Demeco Ryans. I think I put that in the book for my Patreon guys. Most of the time, you're going to see cover 6 and cover 2 as your calls to call on passing situations, okay? And then quarters would be more of a run situation or a check. So here, this is another example where they got misaligned on defense. Our nickel, I think the personnel is 12 personnel, so there's 2 tight ends, or this could be a receiver, but it's probably 12 personnel. They get confused, they get aligned wrong just at the end. Actually, no, the nickel came over to the passing exchange, so that could be a wide receiver. I forget who number 83 is. A linebacker came over here, but it looks like the coverage is not sure if we're playing quarters or cover 2. But we lucked out on defense because they just do a little quick little flat route, little stick combination, and the tackle was made by the corner. Corner just had eyes and just made a play. That's one example of how defense can be easier sometimes when you get lucky like that, right? Happened to be a quick route, so we're good. You don't see a lot of cover 3 in this game against this team, and that's something I wanted to see. How much cover 3 and 3 sky were we going to get? As soon as I say it looks like we get to it right here. So to start, the formation was actually at the top of the screen and passing. The strength is up here. Looks like we have 12 personnel. We have 3 receivers at the top. Okay, so it's like ace pair, old Madden. I think they just call it now single back wing. Now, were they going to rotate down to 3 week no matter what? Not sure, but definitely on this motion, we get looks like to some sort of 3 week, as I would call it, or 3 sky. Free safety comes down. I think we do have 3 backers in the game, so I'm pretty sure they switched their personnel. So, and going against this bubble stuff, this is actually a screen. This is just a fancy little screenplay they try to run. It looks like they were trying to fake a bubble at one point. Am I wrong? Am I seeing things? Something happened down here, right? This guy came across and it looked like they're about to like fake the bubble, fake all that stuff to run the screen. But look how fast the defense is. Nice job. Look at it once from the end zone. Yeah, we got 43 personnel. This is 4-3 wide. This would be 3 sky. Now, on the motion, though, it looks like, technically you would have to flip that in Madden. I think you call 3 sky in Madden, safety's going to come down strong. So that's something that we might have to look into as well, is actually turning off auto flip when it comes to some of the formations. If you know a team is going to be doing a lot of the cheat motions, auto flip off might be the way to go, and that you have your defense set up the opposite way that you might naturally do it. That's just something I just thought about, but we can talk about that later, okay? Presentation wise, looks like cover 6, right? But then maybe not, right? Maybe cover 2 because the way this guy's playing, right? Not sure. So again, these guys messing around, you could probably use one of these safeties if you like doing that, or just move your guy around if your league allows it. But right here, this is actually 3-by-1, and we're going to get cover 9, which I didn't think they played, okay? It's funny, I didn't think they played a lot of cover 9. Just look at the corner at the top, right? Let me pause and circle him so you can see, right? He's going to open up and kind of shuffle, so they kind of made it look like it was going to be quarters, but they ran the double out concept here, and he's going to be there in perfect position to pick off an out route. On safety, I remember I told you guys earlier, usually you want that guy to get 2 yards inside the numbers, right? Usually you're going to start about 12 to start, but you're going to start working out. If for some reason you get caught here in this position where you're not 2 yards inside the numbers, you're actually closer to the hash. When that ball is snapped, you need to cross over, run, and get back to your depth. Remember I said 22 yards, right? So let's just pretend the ball's in the 30, so just to be easier. So this would be 10 yards, right? This would be another 10 yards, okay? And then about the 8-yard line would be 22 yards if the ball was in the 30. Ball is pushed back a little bit. So really, let's just take a look. You need to be at the 10-yard line when the quarterback is ready to throw the ball, okay? That would allow you to do what? Break left, break right, and be in good shape. So let's take a look at this right here. And we're going to end it on this because I already know the results of this play. You guys probably took a little peek at it already. All right. So he opened up late. He's actually now the quarterback, this is actually almost like a 3-step drop. Let me take a look at the quarterback's drop here. Is it a 1-step and throw? It's kind of a 3-step and throw. So it's really a 5-step drop, right? But watch. So when the quarterback is ready to throw, Is the safety at 10 yards? And he's at 2 yards inside the hash. Nope, he's not. He's up here at what, 12 yards, right? And he is not, he's at the 12-yard line and he's not with enough width. So put him here at 10 yards. Can he make this play? Because this is the type of throw he's going to throw this on a line and you go make this play. I think you can if you're a lot closer. He's about 2 or 3 yards away from where he needs to be, a little bit short. And watch this play right here. Let me just get rid of this. Take a look at this, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be too short, right? Look at that. Look how close he would have been to make this play. He starts running when the ball's thrown, but if he was standing here and made a similar run, he actually would have been able to go flat with this. In my personal opinion, this is a drill that I used a lot, right? And I throw that ball 22 yards down the field, he would have gone flat, and it would have been one of those nice little out of nowhere interceptions on the sideline. Okay, so anyway, this was cover 9. Though this the main thing from a scheme standpoint is that they did mix in some cover 9 on some situations. Just very poor safety play there by number 5. Okay, corner looks like he messed up, but he didn't mess up. All right, they're playing cover 2 to the side. You can also tell by the way the nickel plays, right? The nickel doesn't jump out in number 2. He doesn't take 2 on the out, right? He sits there and looks for number 3. All right. So it's a good call. This was 3rd and about 8. So they know they run like out routes, like a deep stick route to the sticks. And just a poor job. Sometimes, again, don't let your disguise ruin your technique. And it looks like he just stayed inside trying to show quarters way too long. And a great quarterback, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna get you. They're gonna dot you up. And that's what happened there. Good job by the corner. And I hate when DBs would yell at each other and say, "That's your fault. That's your area." You know what I'm saying? Good job. That's rush was, could have been a little bit better too, but this is thrown pretty much on time. Joe Burrow puts it right in the spot. That's a great job by Joe Burrow. That's also watching film, probably knowing that they might run that coverage and their technique isn't great. You can see how if you have guys in your offensive staff who understand defense, you can say, hey, I don't care if they're playing cover 9. They're not playing a good technique. We're going to put the ball right where it needs to be. You know what I mean? Corner doesn't get depth. He sits there and squats. Safety's not close. Joe, put it right there. You know what I mean? All right. So didn't get a chance to turn on Madden. It's not going to really help us right now. I really wish we had a new game. But really, I think the main thing is looking at cover 6 shell and cover 2 shell is going to be the main thing for this defense. You can see that whole first drive, there really wasn't any cover. There was one time I saw cover 3, and there was more cover 1s in this game. So you have to know your personnel and what you want to get done. All right. Anyway, I like showing some film. I think this film is going to be about 35 minutes long. So we'll just cut it short there. When I come back, what I'm going to do is I really want to get into some of this college game stuff. I'm going to try to get some examples of teams. I'm not going to be able to run the TCU defense exactly. I think a lot of people nowadays have taken those philosophies and they're just updating them to what they see in football today, not necessarily what happened 10 to 15 to 20 years ago. So, but the idea of just playing with the nickel package full time and some of the coverages behind it and some of the blitz packaging stuff we got to do, I think it's going to be a good starter for us for NCAA. So I'm going to come back and put that together for you this week, and we'll talk soon, all right? If you guys want to jump on the Patreon, there's videos up there of information from what I thought about the beta, and there's other stuff that you're going to get throughout the week as well, all right? I'll talk to you later, man. Peace.